Okay, hello Dionysis.
Hello.
Thank you for being here with me.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. So Dionysis is my friend. By the way, your name is really interesting. Is it not a god name?
Dionysus is originally from Dionysus, the Greek god, yeah, but me personally, I'm named after a Christian saint from the island of Zakynthos. So although it started off as a pagan name, duly connected to ancient Greek mythology, nowadays it's a Christian name.
Okay, I see. So yeah, as you see, he speaks really well English, and he was making my homework at school in English.
I did. I used to do that. He used to do it for me in Latin though, which is a way more difficult language. So I think I got the better end of the deal.
Yeah, okay. We had all of us 20 on each other.
It was a mutual partnership.
Yeah. It was a win-win deal.
Exactly.
So yeah. So your favorite philosopher is Socrates?
Socrates.
Socrates.
In English we call him Socrates in Greek. Yeah, I'd say, I wouldn't say if he's my favorite, but he's the one that I'm the most interested in.
Okay, I see. And so, why it is the one you're more interested? By the way, I have another question.
Yeah.
I do not respect the plan, sorry. the other question is, I just think like a lot of people, like my main friends, their best philosopher is Socratic.
Yeah.
Do you think, do you know why like most of men, like Socrates is their best philosopher? Do you know why? Or
Well, let's focus on the philosophical aspect of Socrates, the one that he talked about the most. So I could sum this up with a quote. Would you like to say, or would I say it?
Yeah, you can say it.
It's in French. I'll try and translate it by myself. But lui qui croit savoir quelque chose alors qu'il ne sait rien, tandis que moi je sais. Si je ne sais pas, je ne crois pas savoir. So he who pretends to know something that he doesn't is ignorant, whereas I will admit to something that I don't know. Or, as we'd say in ancient Greek, oṳδα οὐδὲν. And that small aspect is the basis of most Western philosophy of today. You can't take anything for granted. You must be able to question everything. Be open-minded. Always open to another point of view, because how can you anticipate something that which you don't know, which may influence what you think you know? So Socrates positions himself as the blueprint of what modern philosophy is today. That's one. That's the first reason, which is why I think he's the most interesting philosopher. Then there are other points which we can talk about, but we can talk more about this one if you want to.
No, I think you can go for the second point. Then. How many points do you think you have? About?
I have 4, pretty much. Then we can go on tangents about other parts of his life and how they impacted it.
Yeah, maybe. Can you tell more about the life of Socrates? Was he alone? Does he have friends?
Socrates was born in minus 461 BC in Athens. So was I born in Athens. He lived until about 399 BC. His father was a sculptor. His mother was I don't know the English word, but une sage-femme. She helped give birth to children. He had a pretty normal Athenian childhood. When he became 18, he joined the active duties of the city, which was under democracy at the time, so he had to attend the political events. He also served his city's military during the Peloponnesian War, for which he received an accomplishment at some point. Eventually he came back to Athens and started talking, basically expressing his points of view, talking about what he believed was important, which was knowledge, the seeking of knowledge, which according to him was never ending. Eventually he amassed a sort of following, which was important, but also went against what the powerful people in the government at Athens preached. So he was accused of corrupting the youth as well as not believing in the gods of the city, to which he was voted on, he was deemed guilty, and he was killed by poisoning. There's more to it than that, but off of a first impression, that's how we're gonna say it. And then we're gonna delve deeper into each subject.
Okay, interesting. Do you know, I have two questions. First, how did he save the city? And why did he was poisoned? Do you know why? Or
Why? He was poisoned because he was accused of corrupting the youth. Basically, he was pushing an agenda that the people in power didn't like. He was kind of against democracy, not really against it, but he thought that democracy wasn't a program that was put in place to put the most competent person in a position of power. He gives l'allégorie du navire, the allegory of the ship, which says on a ship, the captain has to be the most competent person, the one who's the best position to lead them into a successful position. However, in democracy, people can use tools such as flattery, rhetoric, physical attributes, the way they present themselves, or political alliances to put themselves in power. So democracy doesn't ensure that the most competent person is the one leading the life of Athens. So I guess some of the politicians in Athens didn't like the kind of thinking that he was pursuing.
okay,
He also made himself many enemies, since as he always tended to question himself and all the people around him, people who were perceived as experts in the particular domains were always questions. Let me give you an example. Socrates has a discussion with a man called Ephthiphoros in Greek. And this guy, Ephthiphoron, he claims to be very pious, d'avoir de la piété. So Socrates uses something which is called la méthode maïeutique. I don't know the English word for it, but basically his mother was a maëftria, we'd say in Greek, une sage-femme. She helped birth children, and Socrates believed that by letting you talk and expressing your points and showing when you contradict yourself, he helps birth new ideas and better yourself. So Ephthiphoron says, I'm someone who's very pious. Je suis quelqu'un de très pieux. Socrates asks him, what is someone pious? Ephthiphoron tries to say it's someone who does what the gods want. And Socrates says, well, the gods are not always d'accord entre eux. They're not always on the same page. Sometimes they have disagreements. So he says, if two gods tell you to do something different, which is pious? Ephthiphoron is kind of shocked by this, and he says, if all the gods say that something is good, it's pious. If none of them say it's good, it's not pious. And if there's disagreement on it, then it happens to be both. Then Socrates asks him, or is something pious because the gods deem it to be so, or do the gods want something because it is pious exactly? And that's how the discussion goes, more or much, when he's using the maïeutic method.
okay. So I have two questions.
Yeah, go on, tell me.
First question is about. So I asked you before about why he was killed, poisoned, and you told me it's because of people. They think he was not agreeing with the model of democracy because he wanted
They
experts.
said he was corrupting the youth as well.
Yeah. And what is used by the way?
Jeunesse, qui corrompait la jeunesse avec ce qu'il disait.
Okay. And so, but more this aspect of corruption of democracy. So, is it the better system, political system for him would be to be a monarchy with someone being the more experts as a monarch?
He doesn't really give a solution because, as well, he doesn't pretend to have the answers. He just questions what there is to him. He doesn't say, oh, I have the best systematic method or anything. He just says, democracy, yeah, in theory it's nice that everyone can have a stake in the life, but people can manipulate the masses in democracy to gain personal power. But I should point out that after the Peloponnesian War in minus 401 BC, when Athens lost the war to Sparta, at some point Athens was under Spartan control, and a regime which was called les 30 terribles, the terrible 30, was put in place, in which 30 oligarchs were the ones making the choices in Athens. That system only lasted about 6 months before democracy was reinstated. But Socrates was friends with one of the oligarchs, I don't remember his name. So yeah, maybe he probably was not opposed to monarchy. But once again, Socrates never claims to know that something is bad. He just questions everything.
Okay, I see. And I don't remember my second question now.
It was, how did he save the city? I never really said that he saved the city, but he fought in the war and saved one of his friends, Alcibiades.
Okay.
And he believes that what he's doing is duty.
Yeah.
That if you and me are having a debate and I question you what you think your field of expertise is, and I point out your flaws, you're gonna get better. And by bettering each other as a society, by developing, well, the infrastructure is gonna develop, our intellectual level as a society is gonna develop. He believes that by engaging in philosophical talks and questioning each other, we're all gonna improve.
I see. So interesting, unless I agree with it, but I have another question now, which was more about, you talk about this debate about having...
I think we should talk a bit louder so that the camera is sure to...
Okay, so I'll take a little louder. So
yeah, exactly.
He talked about those two gods.
What?
You know the two gods, like he telling to someone, from what you said,
yeah,
from what I understood, that if two gods tell you different things, then there is a problem about it.
Yeah, well, which one's more...
But what about there is like only one god? Like, I mean, if I believe in one god, I don't have this problem now, so I can...
No, you don't have a problem, but that's the day he was living in. If he wanted to discuss something about Christianity, he had other arguments to put forward to question everything. But since he was questioning someone who was a polytheist, I don't know how you'd pronounce it, that's the argument he put forth.
Okay. Do you know the argument he would have, or no? You just know?
No, I don't know. I don't know what he tell you exactly.
Yeah, and that's a Socratic way to answer, because one of his main.
I don't pretend to know anything that I don't know.
So yeah, maybe I don't know if you commented on it for now.
Je sais que je ne sais rien.
Yeah, which is the main topic.
It's not really an actual quote in any of Plato's text. What he actually says is this. Lui croit ça, je sais que je ne sais rien. He doesn't really say, but it encapsulates what he wants to say pretty well. All I know is that I know nothing. You can never be sure of anything.
Okay, so maybe we can go now to... was it your preferred... The quote you named before, was it your preferred quote of Socrates?
The quote that I like the most is either this one. Une vie sans examen ne vaut pas la peine d'être vécue. How would I translate? A life without questioning yourself doesn't worth to believe. But let's go back, because to explain this I need to explain some more. After Socrates was ordered to be killed by the democratic system of Athens, which again, democracy put him to death, and the people who voted were essentially manipulated against him by the other people of Athens. Socrates was offered to go into exile and escape and not be killed. Socrates refuses that because of 3 reasons. One of which is, first of all, he says, I believe in these institutions of Athens and we should uphold the laws, and I shouldn't be exempt from it due to my status. Second of all, and this is the quote that I want to say, he says that if I have to leave, wherever I go, if I keep being myself and preaching philosophy and questioning everyone, I'm essentially going to create my enemies and I'm going to have the same problems. And I'm going to just be put to death somewhere else. So he says, if to live I have to abandon my philosophy and questioning myself, Life is not worth it. Another thing that he says, another quote, craindre la mort athénien, ce n'est rien d'autre que se croire sage sans l'être, car c'est croire ce qu'on ne sait pas. Personne ne sait si la mort n'est pour l'homme le plus grand des biens. He says, why should I be scared of death? I don't know what death is. Once again, he doesn't pretend to know something that he doesn't. He's someone who always sticks to his code, which is something that I admire, even though he always leaves room open for improvement. That's my favorite code and how I'd explain it.
So the one about exams or the one about death is your
The one about exams is my death, which he, because he says that, how would I explain? He basically says that if I can't be questioning myself, open philosophy, having arguments, because it's always gonna create problems for me, then is life even worth it?
Okay, it leads me with to another question about do you know how he will see school? Because how does he have an opinion about school?
He does have an opinion about school. In ancient Athens, there were these people called the Sophists. Sophia is called knowledge in Greek. And these people, one of them is called Gorgias in Greek. At one point he had a discussion about Socrates. Socrates basically said, these Sophists, these teachers, first of all, they want to be paid. Whereas he believes that the quest toward knowledge needs to be virtuous. He also says that these Sophists, what they teach is rhetoric, the ability to speak, to win debates. They don't really teach you knowledge or how to always question. They don't teach you the right mentality. They may teach you some specific facts or how to appear as though you're all-knowing, but they make you very stubborn and not open to other points of views. Also, once again, they need payment, whereas Socrates taught in public place, in the Agora, the place where everyone met. His disciples, which were mostly young men, he didn't expect them to pay. Rather, what he asked of them in exchange for his knowledge was that they followed him, which once again gives the aspect of a bit of a guru, as he always had these men following him around, which is why maybe the whole corrupting the youth thing was pushed on him in his trial. There's a quote on this as well that I used. La rhétorique produit l'enseignement, non la rhétorique produit la persuasion, non l'enseignement. Rhetoric puts in forth persuasion, not knowledge.
Okay, so do you know if he asked about school because of your quote about exams?
So, because you said about school, what he would think about school, he would undoubtedly question paying universities today, many methods that are used academic, the fact that sometimes in certain countries there's a program that has to be followed, and you don't adapt your teachings to whatever person. He'd have many things to say about modern school, I believe.
But do you think what will be his point about exams in school? Will he be for it?
Good question. First of all, I don't know. But once again, I believe he would find it very, very pretentious.
But at the same time,
which means that, let's say that you're being examined. First of all, how can we be sure of what the answer is to what you're being questioned for? But second of all, whoever is your examinator, what puts him in a position to be sure to correct you? He'd undoubtedly be he'd be questioning everything, essentially, always.
I see. I was asking about it to try to, make a link with the quote about a life without exams is not worth it to have it, but I might think that he could be the type of person questioning the exams.
Yeah,
in
he'd
school.
be questioning the examination, exactly.
So, okay. And maybe, do you have something in your life that you apply about Socrates?
Yeah, always be humble, always assume that someone else can know more than you, even about a topic in which you've educated yourself on. Humility, never proclaim that you're better, you always question everything so that you open yourself to new possibilities. What else? Rhetoric isn't always the most important thing. Some people can use the eloquent speech to try and point forth bad things. Yeah, I'd agree with Socrates on many things, and many things of which he said I'd say I use in my current life, day to day.
So, it's time for it's provocation time.
I go on.
So, it's not humble from me, but I would ask, maybe it's a waste of time to, for example, take someone who has not the knowledge for something and telling you that, for example, someone who has no money at all,
Yeah.
who try to explain you how to become a billionaire. Why do not ask an advice directly to someone who achieved your goals? And not only money, but even like, why do not talk to an expert? And also because of, you can go in front of Sophists, as you said, you know? Some people that pretend knowing something and they do not know anything about it. And yeah, it's good to talk to them, but our life is limited by time. And so if I take the time to listen all of those people, maybe I will die before having the answer of what I want to do. Do you get my question?
I get your answer. Well, first of all, you should know that Socrates, he didn't really have a particular goal or something to do. He left all that to the others, the generals. What he wanted to do was basically question everyone, and hopefully everyone was gonna become more smart and act better. But to go back to your argument, yes, maybe a billionaire would be more in place to teach you how to make money than someone who doesn't make any money at all. I don't think Socrates would argue that. But maybe a certain billionaire doesn't know the only way to make money. Maybe he knows one particular way, but someone else knows another way. Maybe that particular billionaire, since he's made money, has now shut himself off to any other new ideas, which maybe a poor person now can make a new idea to make money. So I don't think he would argue that you can possess competence in a particular domain and more knowledge than others, but that doesn't mean that someone else can't, that you've ever reached the pinnacle. Even if, no matter how much you educate yourself on a topic, you could always learn more.
Yeah, agree. Agree. I understand the point. That are good points. If I can push through it, I would say the probability of having more knowledge talking to these people is less than someone which seems to be qualified about it still. So even if maybe this...
I didn't understand.
Like, even if, supposing there is a poor people having a good idea and that we can make money with it, that's possible.
Alright.
But
Bro, all your things are about money.
No, because I told you about money and other
But
topics.
it's a perfect example in modern society, so let's go forward.
And after you go on it, and I was like, we can focus on it if you want.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that the probability of this person teaching you about money and being poor is and teaching you the right way for doing it, even if it can be possible, the probability is less better than other people doing money and having good ideas, because that's just probability. The man has made money, he was exposed to ideas, and I mean, for example, in my life there is a lot of people talking to me not about money, but for example about quantum, and saying me things about it, and I try to check on what they're...
You said accounting?
Quantum computing, which is a domain I'm into it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to... They do not have really knowledge on it, and they send me articles, they send me stuff. They tell me, oh, you must check that, you must check that. And some people telling me to check that. But the fact is, I already saw some people who had like scientific background, who made 10 years of studies into it, and who learned me the Bible, the real links to the thing. And when I began, I did not really know where to begin on. And so most of the time I'm like, will I really waste my time seeing all this garbage? Like, maybe there is not only garbage into what all they give me, but the probability of having a lot of garbage about it, knowing the fact that also something really new and there is a lot of bullshit into a lot of newspapers today, makes me feel I must focus on the real links that the people having 10 years into it gave it to me, and not really consider a lot what people that do not have knowledge into it give it to me. What do you think about this point?
Well,
And what
I agree.
what's
I agree with you to some extent, and I believe Socrates would as well. You can't know everything, and you can't question everything yourself. At some point, you are gonna have to take information from someone else, but you can always question them in your mind. If you have let's say you don't have to question everything, but when you're reading something, at some point a question's gonna pop into your head. That's when you gotta express yourself. So it's not always question everything. It's a question sometimes when you have a particular thing. And once again, Socrates didn't have a job, first of all. He didn't do much during his life other than discuss and talk. So most high-functioning adults today need to have a job. They have family lives, whereas Socrates neglected his family mostly, from what we know. I can't be sure, but that's the information that I'm given. So I don't think you can function like Socrates did, but the underlying argument of question everything still falls, because maybe one day you'll find something wrong, and that's when you're gonna need to question it while you're reading, while you're studying, because 99% of it might be right, but 1% of it might be false. And how can you move forward with false knowledge? That's gonna be risky. So do your research on it, never be sure of anything, but still keep it in line. Do you understand what I'm trying to say or no?
I think maybe I'll try to reformulate, and you'll say me if I understand you or not. So if I understand you, you're trying to say that you must always interrogate yourself about your own knowledge, because you cannot really be sure at 100% of something.
Yeah, first of all.
Yeah, maybe I missed something else.
Yeah, there's that, and also because you can't be sure what someone else is saying to you.
Yeah. So, but the main point is so that you cannot be sure at 100% of something.
No, not really. Basically, yeah, that's what he said.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. You know what gravity is? Gravity is something that we all consider fundamental. Gravity just exists. It just is. But Socrates would say something like, or let's say that God, let's assume that he exists and does dictate everything like that. Ooh, there's some bubbles. Let's say that God decided tomorrow that gravity wasn't gonna exist, just because that way. But you wouldn't know that. So how can you move forward with an assumption? There can always be something that you don't know, basically. Basically, today gravity might not work just because of something that we don't know. You're gonna say it's not logical, it's not nothing. Yeah, maybe, but it could happen. That's basically what Socrates is trying to say.
Okay, do you know if I don't know about the dates of those two philosophers?
The what?
About Descartes. Do you know Descartes?
René Descartes.
Was he born after or before?
René Descartes is French. He was born in the 13th century. I don't know, but way after Socrates.
Yeah, way
like
after.
2,000 years after.
Do you? I mean, we don't have answers then, but all the work of René Descartes to say I'm sure of one thing is that I am. Yeah, I think so. I am. So, do you think Socrates will say about Descartes that he cannot be sure at 100% about it?
He probably would. He might try. because you're in computer science.
Yeah.
Could you design a program that thinks? Technically, could your AI not believe itself to exist as well because it thinks?
I don't know.
So, exactly. And once again, I don't know either. I'm just saying question.
Well,
he'd probably try and find some ways to poke at Descartes. There's something called l'ironie socratique. So Socratic irony. Basically, he just asks you questions, and eventually you're gonna say something that contradicts yourself. That's why it is.
Yeah.
Something else you want me to? Something else we can talk about? Let me see. What did I know? Socrates. We're not really sure about anything because he didn't write anything. What we know of him was mostly by two different authors, Platon and Xenophon, two of his disciples who wrote some of his stories. So who knows what Socrates actually said, what he actually preached. That was over 2,500 years ago. But even if Socrates didn't exist as the person we know him to, and his thinking methods weren't exactly what he preached, and during time it was deformed, I believe that the argument of what he's pushing, which is always question, have humility, be able to accept something of someone else, is something sound. What do you think about it?
I have first another question about what you said before.
Go on.
Which was more about all this attitude of, yeah, but we cannot be sure about anything. And that's the main pressure you get from him, and that's the main thing I got from the interview. Like, but I just feel I don't know if the right word, like lash.
Is my T-shirt black?
No, I mean
it probably is. That's what you're seeing.
No,
but, no. Let me make.
You want me to
you
tell?
think,
Okay,
you think
express
that,
your knowledge.
Is my T-shirt black?
It
Say
depends
yes.
of the.
Say yes.
It depends of the. It's between 400 nanometers and 800 nanometers for how we see the world.
First of all, yeah, why is black? But let's say that my T-shirt is black. How do you know that you don't have a genetic condition that just triggered right now, which causes you to see the color white as black, and that my T-shirt is actually white? Or you're gonna say because your pants are white and I don't see them as black?
Well, okay, yeah.
Let's take another. Like he says, just because something doesn't happen, never happened before, is some problem and you don't know about it, doesn't mean that it can't happen. You should always be open to new possibilities, not always act on them and take them for granted, but just say maybe it could. Who knows?
That's a really interesting point. It's also work from a more recent financial guy and sociologist, which is Nicolas Taleb, saying it's the same thing.
Who? What was his name?
Nicolas Taleb.
Oh, okay.
And he's saying you have you can think all rabbits are white, but maybe there is a pink rabbit. And so
yeah, who knows?
And we really saw it, like with duck. I think we saw all ducks were black and white, and we saw purple one or stuff like this.
Yeah.
After. So yeah, I understand, but I still think like saying this for everything and saying, oh, I don't know about everything. I mean, I understand the point, but it's like I just feel it's a coward attitude, because how can you make? Okay, so I suppose I killed your mom yesterday, or I killed someone.
Oh, that
yesterday.
one fast, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Go on.
Okay, I killed your mom yesterday, even if I really like it and I do not see it well. And I tell you now, well, I did not kill it, but there is proof on cameras and all those stuff, and it's not me, it's a random person. It's a random person, and a lot of people telling you, yes, these people killed your mom, and you do not know this stranger, and you have the videos of it, and you're telling to me, I do not know, I cannot be sure what 100%.
Well, that's the problem with Socrates, once again, is that he didn't really take many choices. Like, let's say in the political life of Athens, his job wasn't to make the choices. He wasn't the general, the economics advisor or anything.
Yeah.
But he thought, he said, my job is to question everything basically, and help you improve what you think, help you become more smart and everything. He doesn't say that everyone needs to question everything all the time. He just says, don't pretend to know something that you don't. Always be open to something. But he'd piss you off probably and never make any choices. Because like, I didn't kill your mom. There's this person that has the ability to shapeshift, to change their form. He took my form and killed your mom. How can you prove the opposite? You can't really, exactly. You can't, and that's the point. You can't question everything.
Yeah, you can.
Because let's say that someday that does happen, then you're gonna seem pretty dumb. Now I seem pretty dumb saying, oh well, no one can shapeshift. He obviously killed it. But if one day someone can, then and someone is falsely accused of killing them because someone else has taken their form, would it not be justice to open yourself to every possibility?
I see.
Do you actually? Because you have a look that's kind of, this guy's full of shit. He's very pretentious.
No, I was just thinking some stuff in my head, but it's wrong. So I was thinking first. So Socrates is a sophist at the end, because but that's not true.
Not really. Sophists are paid. Sophists explain rhetoric. But during his process, Socrates said, "My testament is not gonna sound as coherent as the rest of my accusers, who have prepared long speeches. I'm just gonna say what I think." Once again, that's another difference with the Sophists. But go on, yeah. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, you can even talk now if you want. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, you're the one. I'm asking questions normally. You should answer, but I want to go a little depth on. So yeah, I was just thinking. You cannot do really concrete stuff with this. You cannot. But I mean, that's just a job of a philosopher, finally. He's just doing really well the job of a philosopher.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so I think...
That's why, once again, he's the blueprint. You know what a blueprint is?
A roadmap, no? Stuff.
When you're building something, les plans.
Ah, okay.
He's the blueprint of what modern philosophy is. Question everything. Is there a reason for this? Is there not? Is it universal? Does it apply? T'as capté?
Yeah, I understand. I don't know. I just feel that we can take concrete action for I mean, I really understand. I think he has the real posture of a philosopher, a literary, as you say, the blueprint of what is a philosopher, and I think that's really good. But deep in myself, I just feel maybe we can, like, because philosophy and mathematics are really correlated. Like most of the time, the better philosopher, also the better mathematicians. A lot of times, not every time. And so I'm thinking with maths we can create AI, we can create quantum, that's the power of the word. And I just feel like why all those philosophies are, even Nietzsche, like when we had the other talk, it's like there is no concrete stuff. Like when you try to go into concrete situation, as you say, having choice, taking choice in your case is really difficult because you question everything. So how can we really proceed and do something?
You can't, basically. You can't function by being Socrates in modern society. I would agree. But that doesn't mean that you can apply what he taught to some extent. I make choices, but just know that if you make choices, sometimes you're going to be wrong. That's something you have to accept. Socrates was in pursuit of knowledge and good, which he says you can never reach. Socrates says no one can ever know everything. Knowledge is a never-ending quest. That's why he never proclaimed himself to be the smartest man. Because he said, yeah, I may know a lot, but there's more stuff that I don't know. What I don't know is always going to be more... There's always going to be more stuff that I don't know than stuff that I know.
By the way, also provocative questions one other time.
Go on.
I just like you're telling me he knows a lot of things. He teaches rhetoric. He
doesn't teach rhetoric.
Okay, so I misunderstand you, but
yeah,
he teaches.
He said the others teach rhetoric and they use it as a tool to appear smart when they're not.
Okay, so what does he teach? Philosophy, that's it. what's his knowledge? Like what knowledge have philosophers? That's a provocative question.
Well, he says, I know that I know nothing. He says always be open. I don't know, bro. That's why I've been telling you the whole thing. Be open-minded. You may know something, but you may not. Who knows? You may make mistakes because you don't know it.
Yeah. I clearly understand all of this. I just feel there is a gap between philosophy and reality. Like if you eat me or I eat you, you normally feel something. Even
why is hitting someone?
What is hitting?
Yeah, what is hitting someone?
I can show you concretely what it is. It's this.
What is this?
It's a lot of things to describe. It can be like because I touch you, so there is a friction, so there is a power, so there is the mechanic of physics laws for doing it. There is speed, there is velocity, there is a lot of things that we invented as humans. So there is I think the concrete thing as itself cannot really be described. There is a gap between. Yeah, I don't like precisely, rigorously. I can have a definition, but not the perfect.
I was gonna try and use la méthode maïeutique.
Yeah.
Because you were gonna say, oh, me hitting you is me touching you. I assume that. I was like, well, you don't touch me because the atoms between our bodies repel each other. First of all, so that's not hitting. Then you're gonna be like, oh, hitting you is causing you pain. Well, but if you hit me and I don't feel it because I have extremely high tolerance, did you not hit me at some point? Like that's what Socrates does basically. Shitty questions like that, which at some point, yeah, they're shitty and they don't make sense. Sometimes they do, but that's it basically. That's why I understood of it again. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. We gotta be open to everything.
I mean, I like the philosophy of itself, but how could we apply it smartly in life? Wondering about our time, because time is not infinite, so you can ask yourself all the questions you want and correlate it to time and concrete reality.
I'm not sure, first of all. I'm just me. I don't know everything, but I would say try and educate yourself on what you can, especially in accordance with what you're trying to do. Focus on what you're doing, and sometimes the opportunity is going to be presented to you to question yourself. Someone's going to tell you, oh, but this is not right, this is. Instead of obviously being like, oh, but I've studied this, I know more than this guy, who the fuck is he? Maybe try and listen to what he says, because maybe he's right and you're wrong, even though he knows less than you.
Yeah, but
and who knows that he knows less than you? Maybe he knows more. You know, you can never be sure. That's what I would say. Moving forward with your life and question yourself when the opportunity presents itself.
Well, if you ask him a question at this person and he answers wrong as your question, then you know
he's wrong about this. Maybe he's not wrong about something else. Maybe he's right about something else.
Yeah, but if something else is based on the premise of your questions and the thing and the implication of the conversation will be based on the first statements, then what he says is normally wrong if he's logical in what he says.
Then you correct him. Not by a point of view of authority, but by trying to bear him, which is what Socrates was trying to do. He hoped he was helping people by engaging with them. He didn't see, even though it's called very condescendant, the irony with which he talks against his peers. He doesn't really have any animosity or villainous sentiments toward them. He thinks he's helping them by showing them the flaws in what they think.
I see. But so yeah, imagine you are in a situation where, okay, that's a really generous, like the perspective of Socrates is really generous in a way, like always stay talking to people even if you think they're less smarter than you, and because maybe they are and you can really not be sure, even if the probability is normally less higher than someone else. And so imagine you have like, I don't know, 100,000 people who want to talk to you. All normally they do not like. Yeah, you told me he has no goals. But, so does his position? But I mean, he tells to people to have the position of a philosopher. But if we are not philosophers and have goals, not as him, we might not.
He doesn't tell you to be a philosopher. He just says, be open-minded. Maybe try and be better at what you do, but maybe one day never be sure of anything because you may not know something that someone else could be. But stay humble.
Okay.
Stay humble.
But be open-minded. At which point, if I have once, imagine my goal is like.
Well, if you have a logical conclusion or what the other says is not logical, obviously you probably shouldn't believe him. But at least listen to him first, to what he's trying to say, and actually listen. Actually have your own reasons, thoughts of it, and then come to a conclusion. And even if once you come to a conclusion, be sure, maybe later on you'll change your mind from that conclusion. Never force yourself into something.
I understand, I agree maybe with the fact of giving an opportunity to everyone. But at which point can I tell I do not want to listen to him anymore because what he says is not logical? Because if I have a lot of people wanting to talk to me and I give a chance to everyone, it's okay. But can I like tell, okay, after 2 minutes, I do not want to...
I think you can, because Socrates, at some points, he talks with people and he basically deduces that they're dumb. They're not as smart as they pretend to be. And when he realizes that they're not open-minded to the discussion, which is why I said, he says, oh, this guy's already made up his mind. Even if I try and tell him something he won't agree, he just leaves.
Okay. So that's...
He says there's no point in discussing with this person. He's not open-minded. We can't have a discussion. So why the fuck would I stay and talk to him?
Yeah.
Because you're talking with you say that the other person is wrong. You say some people. You said that there's 100 people or 1,000 people that want to talk to you, but some of them are wrong. And once you talk to them enough, they only say bullshit. Mm-hmm. But in that situation, you are supposed to be the one that tells them that what they're saying is bullshit, and they're supposed to be the ones that are humble and opening up. It's something that goes two ways. You're not always going to be the one questioning yourself. Sometimes someone else has to question themselves and be open to improvements by you and discussions. So if you see that that person is not open, which you're supposed to be, then what's the point of talking to him? That's what Socrates would say.
Especially in his goal, no? Because also in my goal, but like his goal is to teach to people in a way.
Yeah.
So for his goal, it's true because he wants to teach to people.
Because I've always been saying, oh, you should be open-minded, you should be open-minded, but that's something that is expected of someone else as well. Because at some point, because I said someone may know more about you, or you may know more about someone else, so your time is going to come to offer that knowledge.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, that's great, and also it's related more to reality in a way this time.
Yeah.
So I think, maybe you have something else you want to add, a final word or a final flag to add to this discussion.
I didn't say the story of how Socrates apparently became known as the wisest man. So in Greece there was these oracles who who said they knew what the gods said. And one of Socrates' friends goes to the oracle of Delphi and says he needs some help. And the oracle tells him, you'll need the help of the wisest man, which is Socrates. So his friend goes back to Athens and says, oh, Socrates, the oracle said you're the wisest man there is. Socrates questions himself, but I know nothing. How can I be the wisest man? So he goes to talk to different kind of people. Generals, politicians, craftsmen, and each one of them, by some way or the other, proves that they're way too close-minded. They believe themselves to be superior, that they're full of their own shit. Oh, I'm so smart because I'm a sculptor. I know everything there is to know about sculpting, but you don't know this technique, he says. Oh, I'm a general. I've won all these wars. Yeah, but there's new technologies that have been invented to win wars, and you're not in line of it. Basically, all these. He went to every smart person in Athens, wise, he pretended to be, and found out, well, all these guys, they may have knowledge and everything, but they're not open to changing the situations when time is needed. And well, maybe neither me, neither them knows anything, because always, ce que tu sauras pas sera toujours plus grand que ce que tu sais. So maybe neither of us knows nothing, but at least I don't pretend to know anything. And that's why he's the wisest man, apparently, because he knows that he knows nothing. Would you have anything else to add?
Well, I think the last thing to add is your flag, because you bring it, so I think it's really fun. So why did you bring this flag?
Because I'm very proud of my country and being Greek, and nowadays when most people think about Greece, they think about some things like exactly like Socrates. So even though he knows nothing of this flag, which has Socrates believed in the 12 gods of Olympus, apparently. This flag has a cross in it, so he has nothing to do with it, but people still associate us with him. And yeah, I'm proud of being related to something like that, which is stay open-minded and stay humble. I'm proud that Socrates is one of the figures of what being Greek is. That's why I brought the flag.
Really interesting. Okay, so thank you very much for accepting the invitation.
It was a pleasure. Always a pleasure to discuss and learn from each other, as we should.
Yeah, totally agree. It was really great to ask you questions, know more about Socrates. Why it is your not favorite philosophers, as you told me, but the one who inspired you the most in a way.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.